Welcome, beautiful yogis. This is Restorative Yoga. We're going to be lying over our props in various positions, and our theme for tonight is Nad Yoga. So we will practice Nad Yoga as we lie in these various positions. So let's begin with our first opening pose, this one where we lie back on our recliner all the way back. So the bolster is propped up with two blocks and we lie back. Cobbler's pose, if that's available for your body today. And the arms, shoulders falling away from the midline and your forehead just a little higher than your chin. So you might want a pillow for your head. I invite you to close your eyes and just sense what's here. Exhaling completely. Nose breath in. Full breath, little pause, and blow it away through your pursed lips. Let's do that again. Nose breath in. And blow it away. And one more time. And so this lovely opening breath transitions us from normal consciousness to this more inner experience. I'd love you to keep now the long, slow breaths. The exhale can be through the nose, and your breaths equally in and out, just flowing one into the next, and letting your body settle as you focus on the breath. In the beginning was the Word. In the beginning, there was Om. In the beginning, a different sound, the Big Bang. Many traditions talk about the current of sound as creating the world. So as you rest and breathe and feel your body draping left and right here at this time, following and shaping your breath, we will, in the practice today, focus a lot on sound itself. So Nad Yoga is a practice that is connecting us to the current of sound as it reverberates through the universe, through all of life, and as it reverberates through our body. And it is, of course, a point of focus that allows us to connect with that sound. And so sensing and feeling your breath here. Slowing down the breathing. You may notice that even without any efforting, your breath has a sound, an external sound. The single pointed attention on the nad, the sound, is of course a way to train our mind to focus very particularly and lightly. And it is that focus, as you know, you have practiced meditation, that particular focus can take us into deep inner states. So our restorative practice tonight, even as we rest in this initial heart-opening shape, focuses on breath and sound. The invitation now to bring your awareness to the feeling of the breath at your heart. The deepening of your breathing, to bring your attention there, to actually feel the movement of breath at your heart. And even as you do that, as you bring your attention to your heart, to bring in gratitude. Gratitude, well-being, we can choose to bring that in even if you've had a rough day, even if you are in a dire situation. And all the challenges that come to us on the wheel of life. Here, now, in this position, as comfortable as your body can be, your choice to focus on your heart breath and the sensation of gratitude, the vibration of gratitude. Feel it as you breathe intentionally in and around your heart. The heart chakra in Sanskrit is called the Anahata. And Anahat, in fact, translates to unstruck sound. A sound that is happening all the time. Nothing external is making it happen, and that exists in our heart. So as you breathe and bring this gratitude into your heart, you can be grateful just for being here and lying, taking this time to just breathe and relax. Nada means energy, flow. And yoga, you know, means union. Union of mind and body. Union with self and all that is. And so Nada Yoga is this union with the flow and the creation, the creator of all of life. And that exists in our bodies. I'm going to invite you now to listen to the sound as it arises. This is a struck sound. I'm going to strike the bowl, and you will hear the sound rise to fullness and then ebb away again, and see how that is. The sound that arises from nowhere and ebbs away again back to nowhere. It is your simple attention that changes everything. Back to your breath. Back to the heart breath. In and out the same length. For just 3 to 4 more cycles. Raising your arms on your next breath in. Take your arms up, and then as you exhale, take them wide and scoop up your knees and bring them up. And then just roll over onto your side to come slowly up and to set up for our next pose, which is going to be child's pose. And for this, we're sitting on the left butt cheek, getting comfy, and turning towards the bolster. Now, the bolster can stay on the blocks. Some people like to lower it, that's fine too. If you do lower it, you probably want to place a blankie or pillow for your head. But here we are now, tucked in on that left buttock, lifting and turning the trunk to lie full frontal, and then a turn onto your left ear, left buttock, left ear, and the arms relax alongside. Close the eyes and arrive. And as you rest here as snug and as comfy as you can be, invite you to listen to the sound of the oud. And to this time, as you breathe and allow the sounds of the oud, this is Yuval Ron playing this beautiful instrument that carries with it a just very beautiful, sacred vibration. And just let thoughts and feelings roam through you as you receive this particular track. So as you rest and breathe, allow your breath to flow and allow the sounds and whatever these sounds prompt within you to just flow undirected, just being in the flow of the sound and your breath. Stay connected to your breathing. Gently come up and take the second side. Turn on your bum, or turn on your knees. Sitting on your right sit bone. Lift and turn your trunk long. Come forward and lie down. Drop deep again into your breath and the sound of the oud. So this invitation to allow and to receive whatever arises. There is a kind of drifting, this now not so particularly focused, connected to here, to now, to the sound, and whatever your inner landscape offers, to be there, to be fully present with it. Lovely, lovely yogis. Please gently make your way up. And now, before we take our third in the sequence of child's pose, we're going to do a little sounding for ourselves. So you might sit up for this. As Nada Yoga, the yoga of sound, can be listening, but it can also be making sound. So this may feel odd, uncomfortable, not what we often do, but get over that and see how your voice sounds, because the heart has the unstruck sound and the throat has the nada, the sound that each of us makes. And so the invitation is to come to sit up a moment and to make the ah sound. So, it doesn't need to be loud, it doesn't need to be forced. It is simply the sound of ah, which is in fact the sound of the heart. So, we'll do it together. Take a lovely breath in. Just what your voice has for now. Breathing in. Let's do two more of these. And now sit a moment in the stillness of your own breath. Listening to the stillness. Lovely, everyone. We come into child's pose or crocodile pose for our next restorative position. And so, child's pose, you can leave your bolster that way, you can support your knees with a blankie or as needed, and lie forward this way. Snuggled in, your head can be forward or to one side. And of course your option is crocodile pose, where you are lying flat on your tummy with the bolster supporting that tummy. I'll show you how that looks. And here again we return to our own breath, the feeling of the breath moving through. Let the breath flow through your body, the current of the breath. Being fully present with it. And so your breath's coming into your back. And as it comes into your back, it can swell through the sides and to the front as well. Each breath matters. Each breath is nourishing you and cleansing as it ebbs away. staying fully present, shaping now the deeper breaths. Now the invitation to let your exhalation get longer. And so the exhalation can be up to twice as long as your inhalation. So if you are breathing in for a count of 3, your exhale could be to the count of 6, 4, 8. And so you never want to push this. The idea of cultivating long, slow and smooth breaths, both on the shorter inhale and the longer exhalation. Resting in crocodile, the 1-2 breath. Continue to build that exhale longer than the inhale. This beautiful message that you're sending your body that it is safe. And that even as you let go so much, the inhale will be there. So many of the yoga practices that we do, meditation, pranayam, yoga nidra, and today as we proceed with nad yoga, we are clearing our minds of all the busyness, of all the day-to-day activities and struggles that we live with, to enter the deeper places of stillness, inner wisdom. And when things really begin to quiet down, we enter what the yogis call the fourth state of consciousness, which is Turiya. Turiya is the state of consciousness that is always there, underlying all the other experiences that we go through. And what are these first three states of consciousness? One is, of course, simply our waking consciousness as we go about the everyday events of our lives and we're doing what we do. And then there is the state of dreaming sleep. And then the third is the sleep without dreaming. And the fourth state of consciousness, which is such a blissful place to be, I hope that you can experience, however briefly, as we continue to deepen and relax our body, mind through the breath. We have 3 more breaths in this shape. Slowly make your way up, coming out of child's pose or crocodile pose. Feel free to give your legs a bit of a stretch. If you've been tucked in small in child's pose, just stretch your legs out. And then set up your tabletop. But before we go into it, we're going to practice the Nadi Yoga. So, creating your support for the seated forward bend. Have it at ready. We've got a tabletop to lean into, a seat to sit on, and getting comfy, whether you're cross-legged or in straddle legs. Lovely. Now, please watch carefully. This time we're going to create the experience of sound within the body. The first way we do that is to make sounds with our throat, and we'll be closing off the ears to close off all outer sounds and bring awareness deeply into the inner sound. So I'll show you how it goes. First of all, we bring the thumb and close off the ear. You don't have to squish that little flap. Just put your thumb right in there before you do, because you want to hear me. But be at ready. And then you can bring your hands to your forehead. You could put one finger, that would be your middle finger, to lightly close your eyes, and the other fingers can just rest on your face. So we've got a light pressure on the eyes, a deeper pressure on the ears, and the other fingers are resting. And we'll be sitting up tall. I'm going to demonstrate the first one to you, and then we'll go together. And we're going to do 9 exhalations, making this sound with the throat, but we'll hear it internally. So I'm going to do 1, and then you can come along. And it's called the humming bee. So it's a kind of a hum. It looks like this, sounds like this. Have a try. Listen internally. You can make it louder, softer, and do it 9 times. I'll be keeping a count and I'll make sure you hear. Here we go. Let's go for it. Keep going. There are 2 more. Listen internally as you make the sound. Go ahead now and release your hands. Come into the shape and become very quiet and listen internally to your inner ears and see what is here. Even as you rest in the seated forward bend, you are listening internally for whatever arises. And I'm going to be quiet so you can really listen. These inner sounds are subtle, yogis. At first, they are the sounds of your body, the sounds of your nervous system, the throbbing, the pulsing, sometimes an inner roar of your blood circulating. It is said that we hear little bells and drums, but it's best to listen without any expectations. But the very fact of listening is the quietening and is the entering into that 4th state of consciousness. Your mind may still be busy. There's always the breath to come back to rest your attention on. but if you can, stay a little longer with that internal sound. Lovely. Lovely, everyone. We're going to slowly come out of this shape. And so perhaps you heard something, perhaps you didn't. If it's noisy in your environment, you'll be hearing that because that's what we're accustomed to. So there's a practice to really listening internally. And one way that can help you really cut off that outer is to simply block your ears again, but without making the sound yourself. And so you could just sit. Let's do that for half a minute or so. Just close off your ears and listen internally. Lovely, everyone. And so this is something you can do if you wake up at night. You could just be lying in your bed and block your ears and listen to the internal sound. And that will be different to listening to your thoughts, which can drive us crazy, right? So we're going to do legs elevated now. So let's use either our setup right here or bring your legs up the wall, whatever you have in your space. And today, once we're in this shape, I have a little story for you. So this is how it looks. Elevated legs. This lying on the back is going to feel great after the seated forward bend and that big stretch and sitting up. This will feel great on your back. So relaxing. Let go all the fatigue. Let go all the concerns. Be held. So my story today is called Moses and the Young Shepherd. And this is a story in the Sufi tradition. And it's a story of how Moses, the great teacher, learns a lesson. One day, Moses was walking on the dunes of the mystical Sinai desert. As far and near as the eye could see, there was sand, just sand, and more sand. It was as if the world were an ocean of yellow waves of silky sand. The warm desert wind blew quietly over the dunes, and through the whisper of the wind, Moses heard another sound. A reed flute. A beautiful, enchanting tune was carried to his ears, and he couldn't help but follow the sound. He walked towards the enticing music. It seemed that the reed flute tune came from behind one of those curvy hills of sand. Past that dune, Moses could see a desert bush, out of which emanated the hypnotic sound. Now Moses became pensive. Who was playing this sound? And in spite of himself, he approached the magical, musical bush. Suddenly, the unseen reed flute stopped whistling. Moses stopped in his track and he heard a voice. Behind the bush he saw a young shepherd boy talking to himself. Moses turned around to leave, but then a greater voice within him pushed him forward towards the bush, towards the shepherd boy, who was still holding the reed flute in his hand. And the boy was young, maybe 14, at most 16 years old. Moses got close enough so he could make sense of what the boy was saying. The young shepherd was talking to God. Moses was not used to eavesdropping on private conversations, but a strange force within him refused to let him retreat, and he felt as though his whole being was attracted to this young boy, and he couldn't help but listen with intense attention to the young voice. Master of the universe, I love you, and all that you are, all your creation delights and amazes me. But it's so difficult for me to be so far away from you. I long to see you. I desire to see you one time, just one time. It is such a weight for me to carry this great love for you without ever seeing you. If you could only come for a short visit, I'd make you some tea. Tea with nana. I would give you a sugar cube so you could put it in your mouth before you sip the tea. And then, as you drink the tea, it would mix with the sugar cube and... Moses was stunned. What was this ridiculous nonsense? This ignorant boy was raving mad. But Moses couldn't stop himself from continuing to listen, and the young shepherd was going on again. My God, the God of my ancestors, if you could just afford to pay me a brief visit, just for a little while, I would prepare for you my favorite lamb in salt and serve it to you on a tray full of flames. And while you dine, I would tell you a story about the young camel that was bitten by the long black snake. And after dinner, if you have time to rest, I would serve you more mint tea and leisurely file your nails. Moses couldn't stand it any longer. He simply couldn't contain himself any more. He rushed around the bush towards the shepherd boy, grabbed him by the shoulders and shook him as hard as he could. Moses was rarely accustomed to raising his voice, but now he shouted, "Don't you know? God is everywhere. Don't you know God cannot be seen? What do you mean saying these ignorant words? Telling God to come for a visit? To have some tea with you? What are you talking about? God is an eternal light, a light all around you and inside you. It's an endless light." The boy started sobbing. He cried with awe, surprise, and shock, and he cried with shame and confusion, and he was totally crushed. Moses backed off. as the atmosphere around him suddenly grew thick with unseen vibrations. It felt as though the air was full of particles, and that these particles carried tiny flames that were burning his face. And a voice inside him began talking, and he heard the voice addressing him. "Moses, what have you done? You have distanced one of my lovers away from me. You have crushed a young and tender soul." Moses turned around. The young shepherd had vanished. All around him, Moses saw only dunes and more dunes, and dunes of yellow sand that seemed to float in the wind, flying high above his head and low around his feet. And then a quiet, gentle desert breeze began to cool his face, and a new, deep wisdom slowly formed within him. In that miraculous moment, Moses recognized a new, revealed truth. How one behaves in the world might be more important than the beliefs that one holds dear. How one behaves in the world might be more important than the beliefs one holds dear. And so, with every faith and with every belief, gentleness and tender care are warranted. For at the core of every spiritual tradition, there is a seed of true and innocent love, the spark of the beloved. There we are, yogis. Slowly coming out of this elevated leg position, draw your knees in, hug them in. And now please go ahead and make your way to Shavasana. So we've got a lovely meditation activation to rest in as you come to lie fully on your back. A little pillow under your head as you wish. The bolster underneath your legs. And the blocks at the foot end of your mat. And so that you are now completely supported and the most neutral and comfy way of settling, feeling what is supporting you now. How your body can give way into the earth. How you can release your body weight completely. And how your breathing is completely effortless now. Completely effortless. The breath flows. Feeling that you are here, you are present, that everything else can wait. Bringing your awareness to your feet and sense the weight of your feet and how they flop and how your legs feel here and now as they extend out over the props, over the ground. tending now your lower back and your pelvis and your hips. Sensing your physical body from your waist down. Be aware of it, feel it. My legs are here. My hips are here. Awareness to your upper back and your shoulders. And the way your arms are positioned. Sense and feel that. Sensing and feeling your heart, your throat. Awarenessing to the skin of your face. Your brow. Your scalp. And awareness to the hollow at the base of your skull. The medulla. Just rest your awareness there a moment. Sense your body here at rest, on your mat, at this time. Letting your awareness now come to your brain, the feeling of your brain in your head. Whatever senses or sensations are here. How even at your brain the unconscious motor processes originate here. How muscle twitches and itches, it all originates here. Feeling the flow of your breath as it comes in and out. How each inhalation is bringing that nourishing, all that we need in this moment, and how the exhalation is taking it all away. And as we continue to feel the brain, coming now to the frontal lobe of the brain, that part of the brain that allows you to make decisions, to choose where to focus. The part of the brain that decides things. Part of the brain that makes you want to learn something, do something. The higher awareness of your brain, your intelligence, built up over your life's experience and all that you've learned. And now the invitation is to move your awareness back to your heart. Allow your body to become involved with your heart. Perhaps your breath deepens and your chest expands. And even with that movement, notice the stillness that is there within your heart. The sense of resting in that stillness at your heart. the peace, the contentment at the heart, the awareness that you are exactly where you need to be. That nothing else is required at this time. Nothing else is needed. You are at home in your heart. And how, with this awareness of the heart, we can be aware that through the very crown of our head, we are connected to Source, to cosmic consciousness, our own consciousness, and that of all that is merging. That we might even see that in the form of an illumination, a light that is endlessly streaming in through your crown and through your brow and your brain and your face and your throat. And that illumined light flowing through your heart and the organs, your lungs, the soft tissue of the body. The illumined light pouring into the organs of digestion, elimination, regeneration, the organs of our gender, all being illumined now and healed with this cosmic light. It flows through the pelvis and down the legs and through the feet. And this constant stream of it, carrying away what's not needed and nourishing with all that is needed for your body now. The stream includes your arms and your hands. Sense your entire body illumined with this cosmic consciousness in the form of light. And just bathe in that. And how you are so deeply connected to Source that it's always here. The stillness, the peace is always here. And how your breath is here too, being breathed. And how we could choose now to bring awareness back to the breath. Bring awareness back to the physical body, now illumined. And how, as you stretch your fingers and your legs, receive and integrate this illumination, to know, I am here. I am here. Please roll over onto your side. Let gratitude back in. It's always there. It's just lovely to bring it into consciousness. And then as we complete our practice today, come on up to sit. Sit a moment. I hope that you've been able to go really deep and touch the Turiya, the place where all is well, that fourth state of consciousness. So good to experience that. Coming back to this time and space, our upright seat, our prayer pose hands, and we'll inhale together and just send the arms up and embrace this beautiful life. All that is, back to the heart. Namaste. Thanks for coming.